Scott. Adrian Scott.
Well, greetings and shalom. This is Adrian Scott, and I welcome you to Truth and Testimony, the broadcast. It is time for some more shekels for your thoughts. And this one, it's relevant, I think. And so I felt a pull on myself to kind of touch on this subject a little bit. And that is just health in general, but diet and lifestyle and all these other things. This is such a big culprit in recent events with me. It is also a major culprit in what's going on with, I've mentioned a close friend, really family member that is still in the hospital as of the recording of this video and is going through their own health scare and health issues. That a lot of this is diet and lifestyle related. Not all of it. Come to find out, like I'll talk about myself here a little bit, that I did not even know this, but apparently on my father's side of the family, there is a history of blood clotting issues and family members that were required to be on blood thinners for their whole life and stuff like that, that was a thing. I did not know that. And that is the primary problem that led to everything else that happened with me, was related to blood clots. So now I am on blood thinners, but in the meantime, I am also doing a lot of other things, that change of lifestyle, that change of diet, to put myself in a better environment, potentially when you're dealing with man, things can often not be possible. But diving into scripture for a second, there's a passage that does say, with God, all things are possible. So I would say, to the possibility of changing my diet and lifestyle, of actually being able to get off of blood thinners. I'm not going to prematurely make any decisions there. I want to do what I can to ensure that I'm going to be healthy and to be able to be there for my family and my friends. But yeah, it'd be nice to be able to get to that point. And I do think it's possible if we do godly things in godly ways, including taking care of our own bodies. So that's kind of what leads on to this. Now, again, with this family/friend member that is in the hospital, there are aspects to what's going on with them that do seem to be just genetic. They're hereditary. And at that point, it is what it is. But there's still a lot of things that can be done to improve that situation and to stop it from blowing up into something much, much worse. And, like I've always said, I have struggled with weight my entire life. And I have talked to different doctors and stuff, and I go on about how I need to lose weight. And they're like, yeah, but that's not going to fix the problem. I never said it was going to fix the problem. I don't believe that it would fix the problem, but it would certainly make the symptoms, I think, better. For example, like I have all this back pain, right? That losing the weight means less back pain. It may not change why I have back pain in the first place, but the back pain doesn't bother me as much just by being lighter, And so that's kind of what I think about it, stuff like that. I can't tell anyone to, ignore the instructions or the care provided by your family doctors or other healthcare professionals. I can't do that, and I won't do that. I am not a doctor. I am not a naturopath. I am not a herbalist. I'm none of those things. I've just been trying to learn a little bit for myself and apply it to my life in the hopes that it will better things. And I've seen enough evidence from enough other people that are naturopaths and herbalists and stuff like that to say that doing these things does make a difference. So just consider that as if you're very wrapped up or if anyone is very wrapped up in our medical system, particularly I can reference North America, but really this applies internationally, to just at least consider that there could be an alternative course of action, something that's less chemical, less artificial, a little more natural. Because one thing foundationally that I firmly believe is this instrument that God created, he created with amazing, we may even, I dare say, define as miraculous feats of self-healing and regeneration if it is given the proper environment to do so. The problem is, for most of us, the vast majority of us, we are polluting our bodies with foods we shouldn't be eating, with processed foods and the chemicals and all the stuff that go with that, heavily treated waters and all these other things, not balancing our diet, not making sure that the essential vitamins and nutrients and minerals and stuff are going into our system. Sadly, in so many cases, our food chain is so corrupted that even the things we would traditionally consider to be healthy, apples, oranges, carrots, cucumbers, things like that, don't have nearly the healthful benefits that they used to have, as it's just been grown out of the crop by chemical use and modification and all these other things. So one thing I believe, and it's certainly something, because I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in another video, but a number of years ago, 2017 or 2018, I had bariatric surgery where I had a portion of my stomach removed for the purpose of weight loss. And I did lose almost 100 pounds at that point. But in so doing, you have a lot less stomach. And the way we did it, that our basic stomach structure was still there, so we could eat, digest, and process things normally, but I think that the amount that was able to process was diminished. In other words, putting it this way, that I just felt like it was important to add supplements into my life to make up where I may be shortfalling by just the natural course of eating. Now, add to that the idea that a lot of those nutrients aren't in our foods anymore, or at least not to the level they used to be, that supplementing may still be a good idea. So this is something to consider as well. One example of something I would mention is this idea of vitamin D, particular D3. But there's different flavors of these vitamins, different assortments, like different types of vitamin B, and C and D and all these things, that it's worthwhile looking at different variations. But D3 is a big one. And I've watched a number of people talking about this, and the end conclusion is that the amount of things physiologically that vitamin D3 is a benefit to us is just amazing stuff you wouldn't think of. Hair health, hair growth, your respiratory system, your blood supply, your white blood cells and platelets and all this other stuff. That D3 just is so much of a benefit in so many different ways. And it's rather difficult to overdose on vitamin D3. The main challenge with D3, as I understand it, and again, I'm not a health professional, is the idea that D3 on its own is very difficult for our body to absorb, if I understand this right. So you need some sort of a carrier or something to go with the D3 that allows our body to absorb it better. The combination that we use in our house is D3 and K2. Now, you can find different sources for doing it. I guess fish is a big source of it. But those are the two that go together. The bottom line is you can go into just about any pharmacy and you can find D3 and K2 together. It's a good one to have. I won't give measurements on how much you should take. You can research that on your own. But I would encourage everyone, really, since there is no detriment to taking it and it only is beneficial, that you should consider adding it into a daily supplement routine. Basically, I have a multivitamin, I have a D3, I have an omega-3. There's a couple of other things that I do put in there, ashwagandha. There's a few other things that I do put in there as my supplementary complement, and I just take it once a day. And since I started doing that, I have noticed a difference. Now, it's not the only thing I think that makes that difference, but I have noticed a difference. So it's just something to consider, that conventional medicine is not the only solution. There's other possibilities that I would consider you to at least take a look at. Explore the possibility of it, that it could be beneficial, that going more natural with these things, to me, is the way to go. And that's what we've been trying to do. That's what I am doing for myself. That is what we are looking at doing, as well as getting that advice and information from our regular family doctor and everything else for this family/friend member that's going to be joining us, because they're in perhaps even a more serious situation than mine came on very quickly. This problem for this other person is something that has been ongoing for quite a period of time, and longer term damage has been done physiologically to them with their organs and things like that. So it's more delicate ground to tread on, but we still feel that adding those things and doing that can only be a benefit. It is not a detriment, and it can only be a benefit, so why not? And that's kind of the way we approach it. But just, that idea of having a little shift in thought on how things can be done. There's more than one way to deal with things. There is a natural remedy for almost everything out there. It just depends on how far you're willing to go. And first and foremost, whether you do supplements, whether you look at naturopathy or anything like that, at the bare minimum, I would encourage everyone to make an effort to reduce ultra-processed foods, prepackaged, frozen, convenient meals. Eat a little more natural, whether it's meats, grains, fruits, vegetables, just going more natural and less processed can only be beneficial. So I know it's kind of a weird topic, because I do think, bringing it back to kind of a biblical idea, that this is the temple for the Holy Spirit that's dwelling in us. Should we not? We are to be good stewards of the creation that God has left us in charge of, that we should be taking care of the environment. We should be taking care of all of those things, but this is part of that creation. So we should be taking care of this too. And not just that, but to be there for your friends and family, because in my case, I just about wasn't. And 20 minutes, I was technically dead. So the fact that I'm here is pretty dramatic, and I want to make the most of that and not blow this opportunity. And I think this is the wake-up call I needed to start fixing things in my own life. Again, my wife and I, we are intending on kind of doing a little video journey of the two of us that are trying to now improve both of our lives, as my wife has her own health stuff going on. And we want to be healthy. We want to be there for Autumn and Abigail. We want to be there for our other kids, for the rest of our family. We want to be there. We want to participate in things. We're not ready to go yet. When the time comes, the time comes. When Abba wants to call us home, then he's going to call us home. But until then, we can do our best to make sure that we have a decent quality of life, that we can be there for our friends and family in a good, positive way, and more opportunity to be that light to those around us. On that note, I will wrap it up there. I know this was kind of a meandering one, but it is something I did want to mention and just hopefully maybe provoke some discussion amongst yourselves, with your own family and friends. Just something to think about, something to consider. In the meantime, I do wish blessings on all of you in the name of Yeshua, our Messiah. And I'll say have a great week. By the way, don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others. We're trying to grow this thing here. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. Make that switch the notification to all so you're getting alerted to anything that we do. And I'll see you in the next video. So until then, shalom and bye for now.
You've been watching Truth and Testimony, the broadcast. If you have a comment, please leave it on the bottom of this video or email us at truthandtestimonyemail@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Truth and Testimony, the broadcast is not affiliated with Truth and Testimony magazine.